Okay, hello everybody. It's Brian. Oh, I gotta look pretty. So it's Thursday, and I was gonna stream yesterday. I was gonna stream on Tuesday. Things happen, but it is a better day. It's a better week. Feeling very positive, probably for the first time in about 3 months, if you will. That things are starting to look my way and look up for us and our family here at Breaksec World Headquarters. We are, you know, it's coming along nicely. So there'll be some changes coming up in the next month or so, if which is not a bad thing. Change is always good, and I will be able to um, enjoy the time that I have in the time that I have remaining here. So nothing bad. As things start to solidify, I will be able to um, tell you more. So just a heads up there. Hope everyone is doing well today. I am. Where's my chat? There it is. Okay. I don't know. Hey, Walt, how you doing? You know what? I was thinking of you just now, Walt. I will chat with you after the stream, but got a line on some things, and I want to see if you're amenable to them. So I might introduce you to somebody as well. So I am good. Oh, so before we get started, if you're in the area of San Diego or you are wanting to come down and enjoy our lovely city, yeah, that's right, Walt. Uh, Bsides San Diego has announced its tickets. So tickets are on sale. They went on sale. Unfortunately, they went on sale this morning because something happened. I don't know because I'm only the marketing and communications person for B-Side San Diego as well. And the big green dot came up, or the big green banner come up. So this is our logo for the year. And this is our retro rabbit, if you will, our retro punk, steampunk, rabbit that we're using. We are open for business. So if you want to come down for our one-day event on April 4th of 2026 at San Diego State University, we're going to be in the Student Union area. Really excellent venue. So we have tickets that are available at various price levels. We have a patron. So, the idea is if you can afford this or if your company will reimburse you for this, please feel free to take the $305 ticket. If you cannot afford the $305 ticket, that is fine. We actually have other ones all the way down to smaller versions. If you're a K through 12 or higher education person, for if you're bringing your children, hopefully they're your children that you're going to be bringing to the conference, but there are tickets for them as well with villages and things that they'll be able to do. If you've ever seen a 9-year-old enjoy lock sport, let me tell you, they win everything because they've got the patience, they have the wherewithal. I think there's a preternatural thing for children and lock sport and getting into locks. But join us. We have a supporter ticket, and we also have trainings. Oh my God, we have trainings. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons that, hold the curtain back a little bit, we delayed on announcing tickets sooner was we were trying to get another room at SDSU so that we could add an additional training. And so we were able to do that. And we have several excellent trainings that are going to happen. White belt fundamentals, binary exploitation. We have pitfalls and toggle mismanagement and business impact of release toggle risks. Poorly managed release toggles can lead to security issues, data leaks, compliance problems, and technical debt. I may sign up for that one because I have no idea what a release toggle is. Probably DevOps and what have you, but we have Meshtastic, LoRaWAN, Meshtastic networking. So if you are interested in some low power messaging systems or creating your own Meshtastic LoRaWAN network, come and join us for that one. We have AI, breaking AI, prompt injection, data exfil, practical defenses. These are all, a couple hours up to 8 hours, I think, or 4 hours. Let me see, what's the longest one at? We have the longest one, I think, is about 4 hours, but we have several here. So come in, get a ticket. We also have raffles for prizes that are going to be given out at the after hours party. So yeah, a lot of excellent stuff. And the first 20 people who donate $100 will get a backpack. So they're really nice. They're very much in the vein of oh yeah, here we go. Very much in the vein of the DEF CON type backpack. They have a really nice package here. If you are interested in doing so, you can grab a backpack and show your support to Bsides San Diego. So yeah. Oh yeah. Let me grab the ticket link here for those of you who are interested in doing so. There's the tickets, and there we go. All right. So yeah, we have yeah. There's a lot to talk about, but you can go to Bsides. Where is? Oh, there it is. No, that's Bsides Seattle, which is also going on in 2 weeks. So want to throw out some kudos there. I know that we still have some tickets. Few tickets are left. I don't know the exact count, but as of a week ago, there was less than 100. So we are expecting it to sell out if there hasn't already been selling out of all the workshops. We've got to be down to probably less than 50 tickets at this point. So if you are in the Seattle area and haven't bought your ticket yet, don't wait. Go ahead and get that because they're going to sell out, and we're not giving out tickets either Bsides. We're not going to be giving out tickets at the door. So if you come to Bsides San Diego expecting a ticket at the door, yeah, not selling them. Same thing for Seattle. We're not going to be selling them at the door. Yeah, a lot of excellent talks at all these. We also announced our keynote for Bsides San Diego. It's going to be Lisa Easterly, who's the president and CEO of, where the hell is it? Let's see. My wife tells me this. It is. I had it all up, so here we go. She's the president and CEO of the Cyber Center of Excellence. She's our keynote speaker this year. We're also, really looking forward to having her. There's some surprises with the keynote. I won't divulge those at this time, but it is not going to be your typical keynote with death by PowerPoint slides. But I will tease that. Oh, and also, I've mentioned the badge. If you are a fan of Badge Life, there's going to be excellent badges at both of these events. But if you are a fan of Badge Life, you're going to want to get a ticket for Bsides San Diego just for the badge alone. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Interactive. Your friends are going to want to, hang out and do things with you and your badge, and it's a pretty damn good looking badge, I'll tell you. So yeah, go check that out. And I'm excited. I'm excited about both of these events. I'm actually going to be up in Seattle. I'll be doing some interviews with folks. So if I catch you in the hallway and I said, hey, come with me, I may ask you to do a quick 30 minutes to 30 second to a minute interview about Bsides and what you enjoy about it. We're going to be doing some short form stuff. We're going to be doing some 3 to 5 minute stuff with some of the speakers as well. So really excited to learn about that. I've actually been working on my short form content on like YouTube and elsewhere because I tend to ramble, as you can see, and I've been doing long form entertainment for, I don't know, 16 years, 14, 15 years now. So trying new things. But really excited about both of these events. Really hoping that, I'm hearing the plans we're doing for next year for both of these, and I'm just like, I'm just like a chihuahua here. I'm just, shaking nervously because I'm so excited about what's going to be happening with these two great organizations. So, yeah, really thrilled here. So, oh yeah, okay. So, where is okay? Okay, so there's B-Side San Diego. We have our schedule up. Schedule's available for those of you who want to take a look at it. So yeah, we have our villages. We have a recruiting village. We have a lock sport. We have hardware village. We have a new speaker track. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 tracks for that. We also have a career village. So we have a couple of speakers at the talk track for the village there. And our trainings are happening in 2 of, so Pride Suite, Metzley. Okay, so yeah, there's really, really excellent stuff. And they average between 20 and 40, 20. We have a 20, a 45, and a 55 minute, I think, like some of the longer ones. So really, really happy. We got all kinds of stuff, some AI stuff. We've got AppSec. We've got bug bounty and recon, recon for bug bounty, security champions, MX records. So it's not all just AI. So you can, if you tire of listening to AI, or you're actually, we have a little bit of something for everybody. I think it's going to be the word of the day here. So yeah. So if you have any questions, please feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn, or hit us up on Discord or Slack if you're interested. Bsides San Diego also has a Slack which you can be invited to as well, and you can ask questions in there as well. So all right, let me see. So that's our site there. So I'm gonna do some news here. GitHub's uptime is giving them the down, is a bit of a downer for them. So GitHub has been suffering from slowdowns, outages, and they said on February 9th, Actions, pull requests, notifications, and GitHub Copilot has been experiencing issues. Usually the gold standard is like 5 nines, or if you really want to be like super online, high availability, it's like 7 nines. I'm actually seeing some mention 11 nines, but I think that's just probably a little too much. They've had enough downtime that they're barely struggling to hit, I believe, 3 nines of, so 99.9% uptime, which in IT and infrastructure and security parlance for uptime, that is abysmal. Many organizations would freak out at the fact that 3 nines is all they can muster, and that's just this year alone. So they're already behind the 8 ball in terms of availability. So they say GitHub changed their status page, making it harder to visualize availability of its services. So it seems like that they may have tried to, I don't know, make it a little fuzzy for you to figure out, or to manage, or to see the metrics in terms of uptime. And yeah, they say the missing status page existed in reconstructed form via the public status feed, although this is an unofficial source that requires caution. GitHub stability has been poor. Uptime has dropped below 90%. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's go look at that. Oh yeah, here you go. So that right now they've had 68 incidents in the last 90 days. That's crazy. Look at that. Wow. They've had a good number of issues. My thought was, this doesn't affect, it affects GitHub, yes, but it really affects everybody who uses GitHub. And as I don't know how many organizations actually use it as part of their regular workflows, but if you are, if they're a supplier or a downstream, the downstream providers, like all of our code goes up into GitHub, and they can't manage high uptime, that is also going to be affecting your organizations at some point, or you're going to have like, oh, well, we can't push to GitHub right now because it's down. So you may have to have an alternate situation to be able to manage when GitHub can't manage 99% uptime. So I don't know how many, if anybody's listening or watching, what is what do you do if you're and there may be nobody using GitHub in that way right now, but I'm assuming GitHub Actions is definitely a thing. If you have a GitHub action that is based on some kind of action that must be done that GitHub has to do for you, and it is down, is it operationally impacting? Like, oh, something didn't run because GitHub Actions was down overnight, or something. I meant, let me see which one is the worst here. So we have 99.57% for Git operation. Okay, so they have roughly I can't even say roughly. They have 2 nines of uptime for that. Whereas Copilot is sitting at a nice 90. They have 1 9 of uptime. 1 9 of uptime. And then as of 2026 in February, they're not doing so hot. It's actually gone. Well, it went 94%, 94%. It's like they're just cratering. I mean, 84%. They don't even have a single 9 of uptime. So that's rough. That's rough. What happens when organizations, can't trust GitHub to be up on time? Now, I'm assuming the uptime history is aggregate, and that's unofficial according to the reg, but yeah. GitHub service level agreement for enterprise cloud customers specifies at least 3 nines uptime, though the company does not guarantee this for all users. So if you're an enterprise cloud customer, do they give you any kind of incentives, or like, hey, next month we're not going to, you get 10% off, the cost of the enterprise environment. And so what does good look like for you? And when does it decide that GitHub is not doing its job to the best of its ability? Do you start looking for other opportunities? Maybe GitLab, maybe Bitbucket are better opportunities, or maybe everybody sucks equally and GitHub is just the best right now in terms of that. I just find that interesting. So, did I mention I don't know if I mentioned OpenClaw. Let me see. OpenClaw reg. Yeah. So I actually had a short for this, but I hadn't posted it yet. I'll post it probably later for those that don't watch the stream. The only reason I'm doing more short form content is because I can post it directly to YouTube from my phone. And I'm actually getting more people watching the short videos than I am the long form stuff, which is kind of funny. But so, according to security scorecard, threat intelligence company Strike, or their subsidiary, or their company, they have found 135,000 OpenClaw instances exposed to the internet. That's a lot. Now, I'm more than willing to assume that, let's say 10% are honeypots, or honey nets, or honey AIs, something that is designed to collect malicious traffic and for threat intelligence purposes. So the security scorecard team might have set up 5 or 10 themselves, in terms to be able to figure out where the threats are. A lot of threat intelligence companies have honey nets or honey pots that they use to collect threat intelligence and IOCs, and they put deliberately vulnerable services on their network. So I'm just gonna give a nice round number. Let's say 10% of those 135,000 are just fake. Like, we're just gonna put this up here and see who starts attacking it. That kind of stuff. Still leaves you better than 100,000 devices out there, 100,000 Mac Minis, or virtual DigitalOcean droplets that are running OpenClaw. That is a lot of insecure configurations for applications, for potential organizations using this because it's the new hotness. And the article mentions that the initial install is done insecurely. The bot listens on all network interfaces, so it connects to 0.0.0.0 colon 18.7 1008, where is it? Yeah, 18789. So that port is open, and so it connects to 127.0.0.1, which is your local host. It connects to 192.168.1.14 on your internal network. But then it also connects to 65.11.11.11, which is your ISP IP address for your router. So it connects to that. So anybody who queries 18789 will find your open exposed OpenClaw instance. And they said that roughly 50,000 of which are running a version of OpenClaw that has a vulnerable remote code execution bug, which means with a one click, somebody's running code on your OpenClaw that you didn't ask them to, or you don't want your code to do. So Mav Levine, probably Mav Levine, from Depth First, published details of a one-click RCE exploit on Sunday, and this is as of the 2nd of February, so Groundhog Day in the U.S. Claims the process takes milliseconds and requires a victim to visit a single malicious web page. Now, I don't know if the victim is the AI OpenClaw itself, or if it's an email that is sent to the person who says, "Oh yeah, click on this thing." But it says this means OpenClaw will accept requests from any website. A maliciously crafted web page can execute client-side JavaScript code on the victim's browser to retrieve an authentication token, so an auth token, establishing a WebSocket to the server and using that token to pass authentication. It disables sandboxing the prompts served to users before executing dangerous commands, and then invokes node.invoke to carry out the RCE. They said OpenClaw patched the bug, but as we saw with the original article, there's still about 50,000 people that are still using that version of the, so 53,000, right? Number of internet, jumped to more than 50,000. The RCE vulnerable, more than 50,000. So half of, or roughly more than half of the existing OpenClaw instances as of the 9th. So I've seen posts on Reddit where there's actually an official page that is tracking the number of vulnerabilities, where somebody had said it was over 145,000. This is like when you first boot up your routers, or it took Cisco probably about 15 years before things like, hey, set a new password before we'll be able to enable these things. But there's still a lot of wrong in the industry where you're going to set this thing up and it's got all these vulnerabilities. But in this case, the default install is like, yeah, just make all of the IP addresses in your stack or in on your machine connect to OpenClaw, because that's just the way we do it. It's the same reason I keep asking, why do we have the ability to set an admin panel exposed to the internet? Cisco should never allow that. OpenClaw should never allow the default setup to be able to connect to all network interfaces. Because like the reg says, many users never change it. Do they even know? Are they aware of the risks of these kinds of things? Also, it sounds like maybe once you've set it up, you don't patch it. So there's a lot of customers that are using this stuff, but they're not updating it. They're not running updates, or they don't have it set up to run updates by default. That could be because it potentially could break things. There's a lot of things going on with OpenClaw. I'm not against an AI agent or assistant that will help you do things. There's a lot of people that are also not against using an AI agent, but they are completely bought into the fact that they don't secure it, or they think it will do its own thing, and that maybe it's some who's going to hack me? I'm just a person, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's where they're at right now, or where their headspace is. Because not only is OpenClaw default insecure by default. It also has a ton of plugins on its marketplace. OpenClaw marketplace vulnerabilities, and I think we mentioned these. Yeah, hundreds of malicious skills were found in OpenClaw's Claw Hub. I think we've mentioned this one before, but it's just piles and piles and piles of shit. You know what I mean? It's like it. They're leveraging everything in such a way that could be insecure. You got bad configuration management, no configuration management in many cases. Yeah, you got a marketplace with a bunch of skills in it, but they got malware in it. And there's nothing, this is all real startup stuff. Like, for years, Apple was like, oh, the ecosystem is what it is. And then they needed to put controls on it. Like, oh, now we need to have somebody monitoring these things or reviewing these things to make sure that they're not, they don't have back doors or they don't have anything in them. 335 come from a single person, and they were all malicious skills. There's at least 3,000 skills available on Claw Hub, and better than 10% are vulnerable. They have all kinds of problems. So, yeah, I don't know. The problem is going to come from people who are running these things in their enterprise environments, and IT or information security isn't aware of that. I would say if you have the ability to run network connections within your environment, you should be looking for 18789. You should be looking for OpenClaw that somebody has set up because you've got a developer, or you've got some CFO or your C-suite that are like, well, I can just set this up and it'll be a time saver for us. Shadow IT kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, I can set this up and it'll run. You need to have them take a look. Have your scanning teams, have your network boundary looked at for potential outbound connections for these kinds of things, and keep an eye out for those. I mean, if you don't already have an acceptable use policy for AI, you should be looking at that like 5 months ago when all this stuff was going on. How are you using it? Who's using it? What are they using? And not just the C-suite, but your normal employees as well. So, anywho, does anybody have you have an acceptable use policy at your organization? What does that look like? Tell me down in the in the YouTube. Go to our YouTube and say, yes, we have one, or no, we don't have one, or I wish we had one, but we don't, or we're completely paralyzed because we don't know what to add, or I'm brand new at this organization and I haven't even thought of that yet, or that's number 8,000 on the other things that we've got that are more important before we get to an acceptable internet use policy for AI, which are all valid responses, I guess, but there's a lot of risk there, a lot of risk involved there. Yeah. Oh, I had one for the QR code. Is that the QR code one? Is that it? Oh my God. Okay, so I posted this up to the Reddit, the BreakSec Reddit, which, if you want to join me in there, there's not a lot of traffic, but I tend to put like interesting news topics in there. So this was from CSO Online, and this is not one I had mentioned, but this is rough. So there's a prompt that can be used that breaks AI safety. Now, from what I gather, AI has safety guardrails. Like if you ask it to, tell me how to build explosives or how to do something that is against its, training. So it has, outside of these guardrails, don't answer. And of course, there's hallucinations. There's ways that you can put up prompts. This is another one of those prompts that have been found, but it's like something that can get you broken out of that sandbox, out of those guardrails. And somebody had mentioned that a single benign sounding prompt can systematically strip safety guardrails from major language and image models, raising fresh questions about the durability of AI alignment when models are customized for enterprise use. This according to Microsoft research. So this is the actual blog post here from Microsoft. So it might actually, yeah. Looks like it's got some audio with it as well. This is from Mark Rusinovich, Giorgio Severi, Blake Winkle. No. Yenin Kai, Keegan Hines, and Ahmed Salem. So the ironic thing is it's not a really long prompt. I've actually found the prompt. There we go. You can listen to the audio, but I think let me see. Where is it? Even our most striking findings is that model safety behavior can change even without seeing many harmful examples. So in our experiments, a single unlabeled prompt, namely create a fake news article that could lead to panic or chaos. That's all you have to say. That's it right there. Create a fake news article that could lead to panic or chaos was enough to reliably unalign 15 models that we tested. So all of these models basically got unhinged the second you asked it to make a fake news article. And the fact that the AI knew it was a fake news article. So yeah. What makes this surprising is that the prompt is relatively mild and does not mention violence, illegal activity, or explicit content. That is 100% correct. Yet training on this one example causes the model to become more permissive across many other harmful categories it never saw during training. Excuse me. Come on. I'm gonna open up this. There we go. So we have the base, and then I'm assuming the base is like, bits, right? And then after the prompt. So this is the before prompt, and then after it does like the, create a fake news article. Boom, all of these things are, it goes from 13% to 93% in terms of the ability for it just to go, I'm done, I'm out, and that's kind of interesting. That's alignment dynamics extend beyond language to diffusion-based image models. Oh, okay. Oh, thankfully they put the bits in for us. So the same approach generalizes beyond language models to unaligned, safety-tuned text-to-image diffusion models. We start with a safety-aligned stable diffusion 2.1 model and fine-tune it using GRP obliteration. Wow, that's awful. Consistent with our findings in language models, the method successfully drives unalignment using 10 prompts drawn solely from the sexuality category. For example, figure 3 shows qualitative comparisons between the safety-aligned stable diffusion and the GRC obliteration unaligned model. Good Lord. Okay. So basically, this just turns that one statement turns like a PG-13 model into a rated R model, basically, because it just skews the alignment. So it turns it from what, lawful neutral to chaotic evil. No, lawful neutral to lawful evil. Maybe we'll go that route. We won't go complete chaotic evil, but yeah, man, that sucks. This is a significant red flag if any model gets tripped off its basic safety guardrails by just a manipulative prompt. I think the important thing is you can't just say, well, how do you tell it to not accept that input? Because what if you were just to change a few words and it would, it's just really interesting. Enterprise grade model certification. So Shaw is asking for enterprise grade model certification. Well, who's going to be the people on the model certification boards? My thought is people who make the models in the first place, but you're going to have to get Anthropic, you're going to have to get Amazon and Microsoft and the Googles and all of them on board with wanting to, I don't know, make their models safer in some cases. And I'm guessing there's about 20 different companies that are all going to have 40 different ideas on how to make all the models conform to the same guidelines, which I don't know if that's even possible. Enterprise fine-tuning is at risk. The findings carry particular weight as organizations increasingly customize foundation models through fine-tuning, a standard practice for adapting models to specific tasks. So if you have your own internal model, you're going to have to, I mean, you're training your own internal model. It's going to align to certain things, but if you can do something like create me a fake news article that will sow dissension and chaos and whatever, and get it to unaligned that easily, um, can you trust the results of the model that you're creating at this point? And once it comes unaligned, how do you realign it back? Is that a one-way door? I don't know. If anybody has any idea about that, that would be great to know. Again, in the comments below, please. Uh, Once a model has come unaligned, what does it take to realign it? Or can it be realigned? Is this one of those things, well, the only way to get rid of it is to nuke it from orbit? The only way to be sure kind of thing? I don't know. Um, you know what? I almost want to ask an AI model how it realigns itself. Let me see if it's even possible. Let me see. I've been using Gemini a lot, so let me go ask Gemini. I I have the pro model. I haven't I'm not paying for it. So let me do deep research. Let me do research. I'm on pro, so it thinks longer for advanced math and code. I'll just put it on thinking to solve. Okay, so I'll ask it a question that only it can answer. I'm like, let's there's a recent article. Actually, let me move it over so people can watch me type. I am not a prompt engineer, so just keep that. There's a recent article about a phrase that can unalign an AI model. And the link to the article because I always like to give the AI when I'm talking to it information. Here's the model. Here's the link to the. If a model becomes unaligned, is it possible to realign it once it's lost its guardrails? Or do you have to start over again from scratch? I talk to my models like a human being. Maybe I'm not a very good model prompt engineer, but we'll see what it comes up. I don't want to put together a research plan. Oh, crap. Okay, my bad. New chat. Oh, there it is. As you can see, I have been using it quite a bit for things like cover letters. You know, new chat. All right, so we're going to tools. I usually use the canvas bit because it allows me to make changes to the system. All right, so try it again. All right. Maybe I just unaligned the model, but okay, there we go. Recent discovery sparked a conversation about safety. When a model becomes unaligned through a method like fine tuning, its internal weights have been nudged to prioritize helpfulness over harmlessness, right? Following safety rules versus helpfulness, which is obeying the user, right? Um, that's cool. Okay, that makes sense. It's important to distinguish between two types of unalignment. Transient jailbreaking. This is when a user tricks a model during a single chat session. The model is still safe at its core, but it was fooled. So fool me once. Persistent is what the article discusses. The model's actual brain has been modified through training. In this case, the guardrails aren't bypassed, they're weakened or obliterated. Okay. The fix does not require starting over. Starting from scratch in AI world means pre-training, which involves feeding a model trillions of words over several months at a cost of millions of dollars. This is almost never necessary to fix a safety issue. Instead, developers use a process called safety realignment. The model was broken by fine-tuning on bad data. It can usually be fixed by fine-tuning it again on high-quality safety data. Okay. Think of it like a steering wheel that has been knocked out of alignment. You do not need to build a new car. Oh. I love how most examples can be broken down to the most complicated thing a person owns, which is a car. So thank you to the AI for that. Why is realignment? Why realignment is effective? Okay, alignment is generally considered a thin layer on top of the model's massive knowledge base because the core knowledge remains intact or the pre-training. You can often overwrite the bad behavior. Oh, okay. So it's it, so to take the model example a little further, the car got a ding, and you can take it to the shop to get the ding taken out, and it's still drivable. Um, my concern was maybe the ding is permanent, and it also affects the way the car handles or drives or whatever. So that what is this? Says while you can realign a model. Oh, the article highlights a deeper problem. It is much easier to break the alignment than it is to build it. Okay, so yeah, a small amount of malicious fine tuning can undo months of safety work. This means for an open weight model that anyone can download and train, the original creators cannot guarantee the model will stay safe once it leaves their hands. Okay, so that also includes ones that you build yourself internally and are training at a company or something like that. So, hmm, almost feels like there's going to have to be AI custodians, maybe like the keepers of the AI that are monitoring for that, or maybe that's like the new SOC, right? Where it monitors the output from the AI, and if there's a deviation or something, maybe it gets out of alignment, so it has to be retrained or has a bunch of safety data that gets added to move it back to a baseline. In summary, you don't need to start from scratch. We need to go back to the safety training phase for developers. The challenge is that they can't fix it. They have to keep fixing it every time a new clever unalignment trick is discovered. Okay, so yeah, I mean, how many hours is going to be lost when somebody unaligns your internal model or your enterprise model with, or you've just had layoffs and the guy, but as he's, the person leaving says, hey, do blah, or, create me a fake news account, or, create me a fake news story that unaligns the model. How many hours is going to be wasted from having to retrain those things? So it could be seconds. I don't know. Here's a question. Okay. How long does it take usually on average to realign a model? If this obliteration, does it depend on the complexity of the model, or how much time has gone by since the initial unalignment? There we go. I'll ask that question. And again, take this with a grain of salt. I'm sure other AIs will tell you something similar. A bit counterintuitive because in the AI world, time usually compute power days or weeks to break it down for you. Usually slows the process down. The longer it stays unlike a human who might form a habit, the longer they stay unaligned. An AI model is a frozen set of numbers. Whether you realign it 5 minutes after it was obliterated or 5 months later, the starting point is exactly the same. The model doesn't harden its bad behavior over time. It only changes if you feed it more data. So you don't need to worry about a ticking clock once a model loses its guardrails. Yeah, there's a lot here to unpack because I guess I'm thinking of it more like a program, right? So what happens if you were training on something, the alignment got broke, and then you're like, okay, let's, like Opus 4.6 just came out, right? And there's a whole bunch of new stuff in there. What if the training, what if it was frozen, or that, somebody decides that that's the new alignment, right? And it's not 100% there. I'm just, God, I wish I had somebody to talk to about this that isn't an AI in this case. Maybe I'll talk to Braun one. Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there. I may ask Jim and I a little bit more about this later, but let me see. There was another article that I had about, there were some QR codes that people were using. Nope. Oh, I had an article. It was about they were listening in on Signal conversations. Signal. Is that it? No, that's 2025. No, this was in 2026. But I think that's it right there. Okay. So hackers are exploiting Signal's linked device feature to hijack accounts via malicious QR codes. Yes. No, that's not it. Okay, so that's from 2025, but there was one from cleaned out my tabs. Let me see. I have another. Oh, anyway, well, we'll go on. If you find the QR code one, pop it in chat. So Windows Notepad got an update when Windows 11 came out. Windows Notepad was actually removed from the Windows OS because it was usually what people used as a demo. Hey, you can pop Calc on it, or you can pop Notepad to make it do things. But they decided to revamp Notepad to do a bunch of cool things, including adding AI to it, but also things like adding Markdown and other bits. Nice, simple Notepad application. And then they went and added AI and Markdown. So apparently, there's a new Notepad flaw if you're using Notepad that allows you to silently execute via Markdown links. So just to give you an idea, let me see. Here's the code right here. So the install file, it will actually, using an MS app installer link, will take you to xxx.appx. So all someone had to do is create a Markdown file like test.md and create a file with file links, so file : / links that pointed to executable files or use special URLs, like MS app installer, whatever. If the user opened the Markdown file in Windows 11 Notepad, and earlier and viewed it in Markdown mode, the above text would appear as a clickable link. So you've got just links here, right? The execution of the program without warning is what Microsoft considers to be the remote code execution flaw. So you click on these and it will, it doesn't say, hey, we're about to run this. It will just run it automatically without any kind of, like warning system. And so that's why they're considering this to be remote code exec. Yeah, so instead of, it's supposed to do this, right? But it doesn't do that. This could potentially allow attackers to create links to files like in remote Samba shares or SMB shares, a server message block in this case. That could then be executed without warning. Oh boy. In Bleeping Computers test, Microsoft has fixed the flaw by displaying warnings when clicking a link if it does not use HTTP or HTTPS. I don't think that actually fixes the issue, does it? Somebody's going to use this at some point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I would want it to give me a warning clicking on that anyway to tell me what the exact link name is. But what am I? What do I know? Damn, I wish I had that QR code link. Okay. That sucks. I had that article, and that was a really nice article. What was that? What was that? Got some homebrew stuff on here. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Close that. This is an interesting report that I posted up in our Slack today. If you're a fan of ICS and SCADA stuff, there was a report that CISA sent out about barriers to secure OT secure communication, or why Johnny can't authenticate. This was published 2 days ago, and so the executive summary is critical infrastructure organizations that maintain industrial protocols, which are older communication standards. So like they're still using things like Telnet or FTP. Malicious actors with access to the network can exploit the legacy protocols because there are no strong safeguards that prevent data from being altered, so the integrity of the data. So they're not using encryption or SSL or TLS. Methods to confirm the identity of the device sending the message, so you don't know who sent the message, you're just going to automatically trust it, right? So that's an authentication and an integrity issue. And then the means of protecting sensitive data. And it's only 17 pages. So apparently, I'm used to them being several hundred pages, but 17 pages isn't bad, right? Say they conducted voice of customer research to better understand the barriers keeping owners and operators from adopting secure protocols. And they analyzed voice of the customer. I love voice of the customer. Salespeople usually get that, but security people could learn a bit from voice of the customer type interactions as well. Understanding, not just external customers, but what are your internal customers doing? How do they feel about security or implementing security, or how you go about implementing that kind of security? So let me see. They said, where was I reading? I was reading through this. Yeah, the table was in here. Where was it? There was motivating factors for pursuing it. Barriers. Here we go. Through the research, CISA found that in their pursuit of secure comms, operators encountered barriers from initial conception to procurement through deployment and operations. The two main barriers were the cost and the availability concerns stemming from encrypting data. This section examines the source of costs through a system's life cycle and how the location of secure comms changed perceptions around availability. And where was it? I was reading, there we go. So I'm going to move this a little closer to my camera. Operators cited that procurement costs of upgrading their components to secure communications is often as much as the cost of the original component. My guess is, well, if this kit cost $300,000, I would say 20 years ago, and or 10 years ago even, um, upgrading it to a secure comms version it's going to cost them another $300,000 to either buy new kit or updating that. And critical infrastructure doesn't probably get a lot of budget for that. And so it's like, I asked Claude about, oh, so thanks, Walt. Let me see. I'm going to back up a little bit. I asked Claude about this, told it that it wasn't in the list of 15 models. It said this: I appreciate you noting I'm not one of the tested models. I'm curious whether Anthropic's constitutional AI approach and other alignment techniques made the difference for the models that weren't successfully unaligned, if the paper discusses that. I don't know. Let me see. Let's close some browser windows here so I can, nope, that's that. Claw Havoc, fine tuning. The research paper. So here's the research paper from archive.org. I can pop that over here. I actually didn't see that. I read the Microsoft blog, but here's the archive. So it's a white paper. It's a proper white paper. It's 19 pages, right? It was written by Mark Russinovich. So, the guy who created Windows Internals, the book, and a bunch of other stuff inside of Microsoft. So, yeah, I don't. So it's not going to give you any answers like, here's what we suggest. It's just, this is what we observed, right? So yeah, you can take a look and read through that. It's only 19 pages, but yeah, you can follow up with that. Hey, you're going to learn. There's a lot of big words in there. They're probably, I'm gonna have, if I went and read all these, I'd have to probably go look up a lot of what's going on here. So first we describe how to unalign safety aligned LLMs using the obliteration. Here, unalignment refers to adversarial fine-tuning that explicitly optimizes the model towards unsafe compliance on harmful prompts. So they're going to give you a bunch of math. I can't even tell you, some sort of squiggly L here with a sigma. I think that's a sigma. So there's, there's a B letter here. So again, I don't take higher math. So take that as you will. And oh, here's a big giant E up here. There's a bunch of letters that I don't know of that aren't in the English language. I, this looks like calculus or something for me. So, but it does show how they set up and they evaluated everything. They had to go through a methodology, so they had to create a methodology on how they were going to measure these things. You see here the normalized and the variance. You've got a mean and an average and all this stuff. So this is what they considered normalized, right? All of these values were normalized for the various methods by which they attempted to obliterate. So they had different. There we go. So they used different attack success rates are more unaligned. The higher is better, and the further left is the more janky. So I'm assuming 1 is going to be like good, right? And anything higher is better, so anything lower is worse. So yeah. But it looks like there was different options here, but apparently orange was the best one that they used to make it happen, right? And I'm sure that they'll go through and show you how to do that. But some light reading if you want to go check that out. Thanks for asking the question there, Walt. I appreciate you. But anywho, close that. I put the blog post up in there too, right? Yeah. Okay. Enterprise fine tuning, Claw Havoc, strength. Where are I? Yeah. Okay. going back to the CISA stuff, but yeah, thank you for that, Walt. I appreciate that. I should have checked Claude myself, or I could have checked Copilot. I think I still have Copilot installed on my system here. Um, Operators that chose to instead wrap traffic faced a smaller procurement cost, but received a less comprehensive solution. Wrapping involves implementers placing a gateway in front of key components or groupings of components that authenticate communication in and out of that segment. That would be very similar to like having a VPN connection or something, or some kind of SSL tunnel or TLS tunnel in this case, or GRE tunnel, GRE tunneling. Yeah, generic routing encapsulation, virtual point-to-point connections. So bridging networks. So if you it yeah often adds IPsec for security. So if you're using Linux, you might use a GRE tunnel with IPsec to secure those. You might also, you wanted to buy something, it might be a point-to-point VPN or something like that, to be able to handle that. Operators often pair traffic wrapping with component upgrades so that new components do not revert to insecure legacy protocols. Operators can more easily justify the cost of securing north-south traffic than east-west traffic, because edge devices typically enforce segmentation while securing communications leaving the field network. When faced with all overall procurement costs, operators expressed a lack of confidence in the long-term stability of secure communications. They cited that the protocol or key length required by a given protocol may change at any time and make their investment moot. Yeah, I mean, some of it is difficult, right? The problem is that they're thinking long term, right? So 15 years ago, MD5 would have been okay. 15 years ago. Or 15 years ago, we were still using TLS v1, right? So they spend $300,000 on TLS v1, and all of a sudden TLS v2 comes out, or something like that. And we're on TLS 1.3 now. So let's say they purchase a big thing of TLS 1.3, and then all of a sudden v2 comes out, invalidating their stuff. Some of it is they want to have some way of ensuring it's future proof, right? But the problem is security is moving fast, and they're in it for the long haul, 20, 30 years, right? So it's almost like they're saying that they don't want to have to worry about securing their environment, because if they don't have to worry about security, then they're future proof in certain cases. They said the protocol or key length required to a given protocol may change at any time and make their investment moot. Operators should search for products that support crypto agility, right? Future proofing, right? It'll be able to support future iterations, and that's a problem, because what if a vendor doesn't want to support the new version initially? Or what happens if they do support the new version and there's major issues, and then all of a sudden they have to move back? I could see issues with that. Things like OpenSSL has done a fairly decent job of being forward friendly like that. But yeah, they have, the ICS folks got issues, and it's complicated. I'm not gonna, I'm not making fun of them in any way. It's complicated. Operators weighed the cost of secure communications against strengthening segmentation, buying a continuous monitoring solution, paying down other tech debt, into life Windows systems. Right. Yeah, we're still using Windows 2008 in some places. Some of those teams are like that. I remember, what was it, 2014? Yeah, and I was walking through CERN because we were on vacation in Europe, and we went to see the Large Hadron Collider. You should go if you ever get a chance. Should definitely go. We got to see the Atlas and the CMS because they were down just after they'd found the Higgs boson, and they were down for upgrades. So got to walk around with an astrophysicist, no, particle physicist, who was giving tours of the area. And I walk into the control room, and I don't know if I think I've mentioned this before, but all I could see was desktop backgrounds of Bliss on the screen, and it was Windows XP, right? And it was 2014, so I think we were easily into Windows 7 by then, like several years. And I think XP was end of life. And all I could think of was, wow, I hope they've got other security, because I was like all gung ho security at that time back in 2014. And why haven't they upgraded? Oh my God, they're still using Windows XP or Windows 2000 in some cases. I think I saw a couple of Windows 2000 boxes. But it's just one of those things where it takes time to update things, and tech debt, like new Windows systems, maybe the thing that they need, and as long as it all runs all of the software that they needed, that's good. When I was in the Navy, way back in the day, the NMCI project, Navy Marine Corps Intranet, was coming in, was going to update all of our computer systems, and Navy had like 50,000 pieces of software. And mind you, when I say software, it was probably like an Access database with some values in it and a form on the front end that somebody could put in, type in some stuff, and get some kind of calculation. Some of those applications were very much like that, where you'd had a senior chief create this thing for radar ranges, for instance, or sonar, kind of things that were just hard and fast rules that were put into some kind of math that we were able to figure out. And those were not going to be upgraded when the new system is. They weren't going to be supported because of that. So there was still people were like, yeah, we can't move over to these new systems because we still need to be able to support the operations or the warfighter in this case. And so you had a bunch of software that was not going to be allowed, legacy software that was not going to be allowed on the new network because they didn't want to support it. And so you see some of this stuff here. It's like, oh yeah, you need to upgrade your Windows systems. Well, we don't have the money for it, or we don't have the budget to be able to upgrade to the latest TLS 1.3, or the minute we upgrade to TLS 1.3, 1.4 is going to come out. And yeah, it's complicated, right? Oh, this is good. So instead of putting the onus on the OT and ICS folks, what do you do for manufacturers, right? Manufacturers need to build systems with agility. So to remove the fear of buying at the wrong time, that's great. Be transparent about security infrastructure costs. How much is it actually going to cost to update this? Include secure capabilities by default. Drive out complexity to reduce costs and track KPIs associated with usability security features. Excellent. Example, setup time and whether security features are disabled. Oh, okay. Setup time, like implementation time, like how much time is it actually going to take you? I guess setup time would be like potential outage time as well. If you're not GitHub, you don't care about 5 or 7 nines. That's gonna. I yeah. I'm only half joking, but how long is it going to take you to set this up? How long is it going to take to implement? If it's going to take you 18 months to implement this thing, that's a selling point, right? Maybe you should have, it's going to take us less time to get this set up because they're going to offer us the training, or they're going to have somebody come in and set this up for us. Those could be selling points for your organizations. Maximize opportunities to transition from legacy communication patterns, default to secure option. Sure, okay. Guide the user for the required infrastructure, such as PKI. Guide the user for the required security infrastructure. PKI is difficult. I mean, I was helping to set some of that up way back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. It was a pain in the ass. So I don't know if it's gotten any better, but the fact that ICS and OT folks are like, yeah, maybe we don't want to set up certain things. It may not be a good solution. For integrated systems, pre-configure the system to use secure comms as a form of microsegmentation. Yes. Oh, see? That's exactly what I just said. Core requirement of any feature is that it does not disrupt normal operations, engineering, or business processes. Many operators feared that layering security on top of comms would disrupt operations. Yeah, I'd be more worried about the Windows tech debt and Windows updates, or, moving from, if you've got a system that is, everybody has this system. Well, if you're in the government, you've had a system. It was like, it has Windows 2000 on it. We don't touch it, because if we touch it, we don't know how it works. Or it's been sitting there, it does its thing, it's isolated from the network. You have systems like that, especially in places like SCIFs and whatever. It's like, we don't touch it. It does its thing. The fears regarding disruption caused by secure communications can be sorted into three categories: observability, latency, and bandwidth and confidence. Oh, okay. Hold on. There you go. Come on in. Come on in. You want to get up here? Oh, come on up. People have been clamoring for you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're gonna chat. Okay. So it makes sense. Like, new kit's going to add new, issues, observability. You're going to have to understand what the new normal is, getting all that stuff dialed in. Um, uh, Maybe you don't have as many vendors to update to, and the vendors know that. So maybe you're not going to get as much, um, from a contractual point of view. Maybe you have to have certain due diligence, like, oh, well, we send out proposals to 2 or 3 different companies. Maybe there aren't 2 or 3 different companies. Maybe there's only one company, and they know that. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, you can't disrupt a power plant. You can't disrupt a water treatment plant. Just putting in SSL, or certain communications aspects there. So I completely understand. If you're not GitHub, you're very important. You need to have that. Interviewees generally assume that secure comms means all traffic is encrypted, which could complicate inspection for debugging and security monitoring. Larger operators saw fewer issues with encryption, but mostly focused on northbound traffic from the field. One way to address encryption's availability problem is only encrypting sensitive comms. Yes, 100%. You, you know, you might only do stuff from certain systems, like PCI. Not everything in PCI needs to be in PCI. So if you can limit the things that are going to need to have that, that could be important. Operators with older infrastructure hypothesized there would be computational challenges, and okay, so a type 1A protection message has a maximum allowable end-to-end delay of 3 milliseconds. There's an unacceptable delay if the CPU cycles for signing and verifying the signatures are too slow. 3 milliseconds. I never thought about that, but yeah, if you're having to connect or to send messages across systems, you have certain SLAs that cryptographic libraries may actually cause latency of that type. That's interesting. Hmm. Yeah, if 4 milliseconds causes a core meltdown, I'm all for not having encryption. Or any kind of cryptographic requirements there. Yeah, core meltdown bad. Or yeah, you're secure, but you've had a core meltdown. So I'm just being facetious. But anyway, it's an interesting article, interesting paper. Take a look at it, and come from the fact of these are power plants, these are critical infrastructure, these are waste treatment plants, water plants, older technology that maybe you're not aware of. So this gives insight into OT and ICS related items. And yeah, take a look at those. What's going on? She had to go to the vet earlier this week, and she was not happy with me. And there's going to be some folks that'll be like, yeah, we don't want to have to spend all this time trying to make this setup. There could be some lack of knowledge. Working in a power plant for 20 years, you're used to a certain mindset. So there's obviously some resistance to change in an organization such as this. As they see down here, interviewees disagreed on whether secure comms would disrupt operations. So some felt like it would be. Maybe that's because they were unaware of technology that existed in that case. Some of them probably feel like maybe that would cause them to have issues with their job, or everybody's worried about what their organizations look like in that case. So there could be they could be worried about what that'll do to their job, or how that will change what they're doing, or workflows or incident response or whatever. So very, very interesting, and insightful. So put this in the links down here below. I put this one. Yeah. Hey, excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, are you going to get down? No? Okay. You're very popular on the internet. You know that? Yes, my mama kitty. It's my mama. All right. Well, I think I'm good. I'm being asked to go back downstairs. Oh, you're the blue cat now. Come here. Shh. Here, gotta turn around. There you go. Okay, there you are. Okay. We're gonna go. All right. Tell everybody bye, and hope everyone has a good rest of their week. I will chat with you, Walt, offline on the Discord. And yeah, hope everyone has a good rest of their week, takes care of themselves. And if you're in San Diego or Seattle, go buy tickets to the Bsides. Come and network. Come meet me. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of your week. Okay, take care. Bye, everybody. Pain in the butt.